proposal. So it is very fair to ask about that and to press about that.
Let me just say, and I've answered you multiple times. I know you want to have a sense of what ratings might be or pulling people in.
No, it's not that. We're just trying to get answers from our viewers. It's not any of that.
They have answers
I want to ask you
from
about
the
something
actions
else,
of the
and that
State
is what's going
Department
on at the
and
State
the White
Department.
House. And we will not have this debate. Certainly, it's not going to be a negotiation between you and me, and you know that. I know that, and the audience should know that this is a dynamic that is very different than this kind of an exchange, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know who Tammy Bruce is here on the right. Man, that was amazing. She does not play around, and she makes sense. She's not trying to be fiery for ratings to make it cool. Wow. I had no idea who this woman, Tammy Bruce, was from the State Department before this video, but now I am going to watch every interview she ever does. This woman does not mess around. She makes total sense, and she's fiery. She re-interrupts the CNN reporter if she needs to. You guys are going to enjoy this one. It's SeanDaniel here. If you enjoy the video like I do, like I did filming this, hit the like button or subscribe. Let's go, Tammy.
Joining us now is State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So you have said that Secretary Rubio is skipping these talks due to logistical issues. Can you give us any more specifics on why the secretary will no longer attend?
You know, I really will not speak to issues that have landed regarding negotiations or diplomatic discussions, but he has a tweet out. There's been certainly more discussions in general. We know General Kellogg certainly has been in London. So things are certainly moving on and being discussed. You just had a clip, of course, from the vice president in that regard. So that's the extent to which I'll address that.
Before we hear more from her, let's hear exactly what Marco Rubio said regarding all of this.
We're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well. I think it's important to remind everybody that the Ukraine war is a terrible thing, but it's not our war. We didn't start it. The United States has been helping Ukraine over the last 3 years, and we want it to end. But it's not our war. I want everyone to understand that. And the reason why I make that point is the president has spent 87 days at the highest level of his government repeatedly taking efforts to bring this war to an end. We are now reaching a point where we need to decide and determine whether this is even possible or not, which is why we're engaging both sides. We're not going to continue to fly all over the world and do meeting after meeting after meeting if no progress is being made. So if they're serious about peace, either side or both, we want to help. If it's not going to happen, then we're just going to move on. We're going to move on to other topics that are equally, if not more important in some ways, to the United States.
I don't know how you can argue with what he just said, but I'm sure CNN will try to do just that.
The secretary is canceling this trip to London at a critical time when both he and the vice president have said that they're willing to walk away from this if there is not progress made. And I think that is key here. Does this have anything to do with Zelensky rejecting a key part of the U.S. proposal, which is recognizing Russian control over Crimea?
Well, you know, most of what you're asking also relies on speculation, relies on maybe an individual report or rumors or even gossip.
What specifically?
So I'm certainly all of what you've said is details regarding what maybe was reported or amused about what maybe was presented, but that's not what we're going to do here. And that doesn't help the nature of the genuine conversations, the genuine summits, the genuine exchanges between leaders. You've got people, certainly in the United States, the President of the United States and the Secretary of State, who've made it clear their commitment. But he also has said that, in fact, if there's a point where people don't seem to be serious, at NATO, he noted it would be a matter of...
Come on, CNN, turn the camera back to her. She's making good points right now. Seriously good points.
Of weeks where we determined whether Russia was serious. And of course, the Secretary has made it very clear that We are not going to have meetings about meetings. We're not going to have this drag on for a year. This is about ending the carnage, stopping the madness that is going on, creating a full ceasefire so that people will stop dying. Now, if you've got one changed meeting, it's interesting that there's a focus on that. The fact of the matter is, leading up to this and after this will be the kind of diplomacy that the world has not seen before, led by President Trump, to get these intransient kind of situations to the table so that we can have a resolution. That continues, and the American people and the world has seen the commitment of Trump and Rubio in this regard.
See how they showed all the Ukraine stuff? They showed the text about the ideas of the negotiations. Excuse me. She was making amazing points right there that CNN and these news organizations need to chill out. We're not going to tell you everything in the negotiations that's going on. We're going to do it behind closed doors, try to get it done. But we're not going to do what Zelensky does, which is try to pander in front of the worldwide media about what's going on, what has been done, what do we need to say. I think she was making great points right there.
Let me just follow up with that, because what I said is actually what Zelensky himself said. This wasn't just, reporting that's floating around out there.
Exactly. Zelensky's been talking out in the public about the negotiations and everything, making these statements, which Trump has said we're not going to do. It's not how things get done.
All right, let me just follow up with that, because what I said is actually what Zelensky himself said. This wasn't just, reporting that's floating around out there by anonymous sources. Zelensky himself said that he will not accept Russia controlling Crimea, which is part of the U.S. proposal. In 2014, then Senator Rubio, now Secretary of State, said, quote, "It's quite shocking and frankly outrageous how they're getting away with this," talking about Russia's invasion of Crimea. By making Russian control part of the peace deal proposal, is the U.S. letting Russia get away with it?
Let's make something quite clear here. This is not going to be discussed on TV, not between you or me. It's not going to be a discussion over TV or television or dinner or anywhere else. That these are, President Zelensky, I respect a great deal, and he's going to say what he needs to say. But there's a reason why you do want to be able to sit down and talk, and it's why the secretary has been committed to that constantly for the last 100 days. It has been a hallmark of his secretariat up to this point. Getting to peace and ceasefires is a hallmark and a North Star of President Trump's administration, and it's working because it's not a debate on television. It's a discussion between the men and women who have an impact on this and can make decisions. And again, you'll hear these leaders say things independently in op-eds or to television anchors. But what matters is when they sit down, and this has been happening, and it's going to continue to happen. And
How
of course,
long will it
we will see,
continue,
as the
though?
Secretary has said. Well, that is what Secretary Rubio has already pointed to, and that it will not go on forever. It will not go on for months, but it's a matter of what these individuals, what they know in their private conversations through diplomatic negotiations and conversations and meetings is not something that is fair to discuss on television, speculate about, or amuse about. Their success is based on their actions, and it does not come from a conversation like this on television.
Secretary Rubio made the comments
answered that.
himself and J.D. Vance that
answered
they're willing to
this.
walk away, and you
I've
have
said-
Ukraine saying
look,
that it would not agree
yes,
to a
of
key
course.
part of the U.S. proposal. So
I
it is
know
very fair
you
to ask
really-
about that and to press
let
about
me
that.
Let me just say, and I've answered you multiple times about the difference between genuine negotiations, which the president has, of course, encouraged, and his vision involves that. Secretary Rubio has, of course, engaged in that, as has the president with Putin of Russia. But for you, I know you want to have a sense of what ratings might be or pulling people in.
No, it's not
but
that.
It is,
We're just trying to get answers for our viewers. It's not any of that.
They
Okay,
have
I wanna
answers
ask you
from the
about something
actions
else,
of the
and that
State
is what's going
Department
on at the
and
State
the White
Department.
House. And we will not have this debate. Certainly, it's not going to be a negotiation between you and me, and you know that. I know that, and the audience should know that this is a dynamic that is very different than this kind of an exchange, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know who Tammy Bruce is here on the right. Man, that was amazing. She does not play around, and she makes sense. She's not trying to be fiery for ratings to make it cool. She's taking a stand for Trump, for Rubio, and for how these negotiations should go. And the fact We love when someone calls out CNN for the BS they try to pull on air. Because their ratings are so bad, they need these gotcha moments to have anyone watch them. Like me, I love watching these fiery moments. But the fiery moments only happen because CNN asks ridiculous things, and in the Trump administration, we have people that take a stand and stand up. Bravo, Tammy.
You are the State Department spokesperson. It is very fair for me to ask you basic questions about what has been said publicly. So I also want to go up to what's going on at the State Department.
And for you to accept my
you didn't
answers.
Answer some of my questions, which is why I followed up, which is my job.
Of course I did.
I want to ask you about the shakeup at the State Department. Just unveiled.
I didn't answer it the way you wanted me to answer. That's what she just said. It's hard to hear some of the things because Miss CNN won't shut up.
Okay,
that's the difference.
Not true.
I answered them, but
let me
not in
ask
the way
you about
that you
what is
wanted.
going on.
Of course it's true.
Tammy, let me ask you what is going on within the State Department. It doesn't help anyone, any of our viewers, unless I can get the question out. According to senior officials.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to her dumb question, this shows me, and I think it shows you the same thing, that CNN would rather have a quality soundbite, a quality clip that they can put everywhere. They can have on their news show. They can put on social media. That's click-worthy, that's attention-grabbing, that gives them this edge about what's going on between the U.S. and Ukraine, even if that soundbite being out negatively hurts the peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. I believe that is totally true. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments below. I will be checking. If that is the case, which I believe it is, because they just care about themselves, that means all their fake grandstanding about Ukraine and all this, it's all BS. They really don't care. They just want to prop up their program and their network because it's failing.
Tammy, let me ask you what is going on within the State Department. Just unveiled.
Me to answer it.
Okay,
that's the difference.
Not true.
I answered them, but
let me
not
ask
in the way
you about
that you
what is
wanted.
going on.
Of course it's true.
Tammy, let me ask you what is going on within the State Department. It doesn't help anyone, any of our viewers, unless I can get the question out. According to senior officials and documents obtained by CNN, Kylie Atwood just laid it out. Offices that focus on war crimes and global conflict are being eliminated. Why were those offices targeted?
Not.
And are they?
No, they're not.
Okay, so they're not. So help. Okay, so
they're not being eliminated. Yeah.
Okay, so what's going on? Please fill us in with some information.
Sure. Well, yesterday, the secretary had an opinion piece. He also had a statement that he'd made. I did a full briefing here at the State Department, making it clear what was going on. And I'll reiterate it here now, is that this is definitely a consolidation here at the State Department. The bureaus, certain bureaus that have been discussed of being eliminated are not being eliminated. They're being moved into another bureau. Perhaps they're being consolidated. But the work that matters to people, that has always mattered to the State Department, that we are the hallmark of, continues. And it is a dynamic where you've got such a system that has been moving and growing so large to where it has become unmovable and dysfunctional to being able to get the work done that the American people want done. This is a matter of maintaining the traditional element of what the State Department has stood for, which is diplomacy around the world, functioning frameworks that actually we can get things done in a faster manner in this modern age. And this requires cutting down a system that has become bureaucratic, constipated, unable to move. And these changes will maintain the nature and the importance and the values of what we've wanted, what is important to diplomacy here and around the world, by making it more condensed, more nimble, more effective, and more efficient.
Tammy Bruce is a hell of a communicator because she used so many wording, consolidating, the bureaus become constipated, it stalls, things don't move. She did not say one word that CNN could jump on in a negative way like they're already trying to. Because you have to logically think. The government's not going to get rid of departments. While we're #1 in the world, we're the world police, we're super powerful, they're not going to just get rid of departments that make us lose power worldwide like CNN tried to frame it. And Tammy's response was logical. We all know that. A lot of these departments are too big. They're trying to make it more efficient, getting rid of excess staff, stop wasting money, stop having offices open that have nothing happen as a result of the office being open. She's a hell of a communicator, man. This woman's really impressive, and I'm glad she's the spokesperson for the State Department.
more nimble, more effective, and more efficient.
Are the priorities changing as a result?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, the people will see that the priorities that they care about, which again is the matter of the spreading of democracy, the values of the United States moving around the world, the values of the Trump administration as reflected in the vote, the mandate he got in November, is that Americans want for America to be great again. They want the values of America, which is personal freedom and democracy, to be acceptable around the world. And that can only happen when you've got a voice at the State Department and information moving through that is clear, that is about making the State Department great again and making it possible to actually get things done. We know bureaucracy, whether it's in business or in government or anywhere else, as schools, slows things down. It keeps things from being able to happen. And it's about making sure those values are implemented and actually get things done and are being able to be enjoyed by the world as the world becomes a better place.
I want your thoughts on the case of...
Sure.
See, she looks disappointed because she really can't attack anything that Tammy just said. You notice right after it, they cut immediately to the next question. They have an edit in there, so Tammy probably either kept destroying her or didn't give another answer that they wanted, but they cut it out, as you can see, because they have a hard edit from the live shot. Let's see the next one.
Things done. We know bureaucracy, whether it's in business or in government or anywhere else, as schools, slows things down. It keeps things from being able to happen. And it's about making sure those values are implemented and actually get things done and are being able to be enjoyed by the world as the world becomes a better place.
I want your thoughts on the case of Ksenia Petrova. She's a Harvard cancer researcher jailed right now by immigration authorities. Petrova fled to the U.S. from Russia after protesting Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Now she faces deportation back to Russia because she didn't declare some frog embryos that were part of her research at a customs check. Does the administration intend to send her back to Russia? Are you looking in this case, despite the obvious danger she would face there?
Well, I'm not in a position to speak of anything that certainly is in the legal process now or something to which you should speak to DHS or to the DOJ.
Just to follow up on that, though, over 340 students, faculties, and researchers have had their visas revoked this year. Of course, the State Department, under the law, has wide latitude to make moves on that point. But are you concerned that that could have a chilling effect and dissuade the best and the brightest talent overseas from coming to the U.S.?
You know, I think what dissuades people who have talent from coming to the U.S. is conditions of crime in our cities, was an open border, is the nature of things being unsure or safe in your own neighborhoods or even on your own campus. But on the issue of specifics, certainly that.
It did another edit right there. I don't know what she kept saying. It was probably really good because CNN decided not to air it. You see that hard edit? There could have been technical problems. We don't know. But she's doing a wise pivot on this answer.
It's not appropriate to discuss, but the American people want there to be some kind of order, and we are applying an order that has always existed about the nature of what you say to get into this country, and that it is not a birthright, and that we will take seriously if you do things that require your removal from this country.
All right, and just to note, some of them have not been charged.
Thank
but of
you.
course, as I pointed out, the State Department, not all of them have been charged. Thank you very much, Tammy Bruce. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
I'm not going to speak about the legal dynamics, but thank you.
You see how they try to end it?
Okay, but thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
I do appreciate your time coming on the show, talking about these important issues. I hope you'll come back. Thank you.
Sure.
Man, Tammy was awesome. See, because the CNN lady tries to get the last word in to frame something which Tammy just basically rejected. She can't just ask the question, but she makes it as a legal note. Look at this. Legal note.
Of course, as I pointed out, the State Department.
Seriously, if you do things that require your removal from this country.
And then,
as a note, and just to note, some of them have not been charged.
Thank
but
you.
Of course,
Thank you. Tammy knows exactly what's coming.
The State Department, not all of them have been charged. Thank you very much, Tammy.
I don't know who she is, but man, that was awesome to watch. Because it's not just that she's fiery, she takes a stand, but she makes sense. Like I said before. Why should she publicly share about what's going on with the negotiations, the details of between Russia, Ukraine, like Zelensky's trying to do to win a PR game among the media and pressure the U.S. to make a deal? We're not going to be pressured into anything. And I love that she, even Tammy from the State Department, is not being pressured into sharing details of the negotiations by Miss CNN over here. That was awesome. I had no idea who she was before watching this. Really enjoyed it. Hope you did as well. It's Sean Daniel here. I will see you in the next one. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it like I did. Adios.